Hi everyone, my name's Haley Farmer, and today I'm going to walk through my experience using AI tone analyzers. So to start, I have this prompt from a disgruntled customer. It goes into detail about poor customer service and products received from a business, giving examples saying that they placed this order, a while ago and they expected to receive it within 3 to 5 business days, but it took even longer than that. And then they contacted customer support and was not met with anybody helpful. And then later they demanded a refund, but they were upset that it would take up to 30 days to process that refund. And then at the end, they go in to say that they basically that business basically lost a customer for life. So I took this prompt and I first put it into Sapling AI to detect the tone. And so what it did is it gave me an output where every single sentence breaks down the tone. So for something that is close to 100%, like 99%, like this one, it shows as repulsed, so very strongly repulsed. But if something is, maybe a little bit more iffy, like this, when I eagerly opened the box, I was shocked to find a completely different phone model than the one I had ordered. It's about 64% excited. So this one is shown in gray rather than in the dark color for something that it's more sure about. For the most part, they do a pretty good job of, extracting what the tone of the sentence is. But for example, like the one that I just talked about, the when I eagerly opened the box, that one probably shouldn't be excited because it says they were shocked to find a completely different phone model. That should be negative. So that's one instance of how the tone analyzer is missing the mark a little bit. Then I tried pasting the same prompt into Goblin.Tools, and Goblin.Tools gave me paragraph forms of an analysis. So it breaks down the text, clearly conveying a deep sense of frustration, anger, and disappointment. So I was able to grasp the overall tone of the prompt that I gave it. It uses some of the keywords from the prompt, like utterly disgusted, shocked, furious, and appalled. And then it continues by saying, there's a clear sense of injustice and betrayal in the underlying message. And then it also mentions at the end that there's even a bit of helplessness and impatience. And concluding remarks reveal feelings of betrayal and loss. So it does a nice job of breaking down each section of the prompt and giving the overall tone. So from there, I then went into LiveChatAI and I pasted in this output that I got from Goblin.Tools into LiveChatAI, and it created a nice little visualization for me. So this breaks down that it was about 60% frustrated, 25% sad, 10% neutral, and a tiny percent positive. And it went even further into some analysis and even went and gave me some suggestions for how I, as the business, can respond back to the disgruntled customer. So it mentioned things like consider framing the feedback in a way that highlights potential for change and future improvement, and utilize language that conveys hope. So these are some good tips. But then I took it a step further and I pasted everything into Gemini. So I put the original prompt from the customer into Gemini. And then I also pasted in the feedback that I received, like the tone analysis, both the image and the output from Goblin.Tools. And then I asked Gemini how I should respond back as the business. And it did a nice job of breaking down everything that I gave it. So it says, to effectively address a customer who feels disrespected, deceived, and betrayed, your response must prioritize extreme accountability over standard corporate policy. So it pulls out the 60% of feedback is rooted in frustration. It suggests a strategic response framework. And then what I most value is this recommended response draft that it generated. It goes into, some nice formatting here that I can just copy and paste into an email. I just have to change like a few like this X business days and whatnot. But overall, this is a really nice response back. I think it actually did a good job of handling the customer escalation because even at the end, like it does the good business practice of trying to keep the customer. Because originally the customer said that, they lost the customer for life, but as the business owner, this is saying, hey, we'd love to, still keep you as a customer. Here's a digital gift card to our store, in hopes that, you can still be a customer of ours. So I think this is a pretty solid response back for that upset customer. And also tone-based analyzers like these can be helpful in many customer service situations. AI help agents can detect the general sentiment of the call, and then they can relay that customer to the department needed accordingly. If the general sentiment is very upset, it can redirect to a manager who is specialized in calming down customer escalations. In the cruise industry, for example, tools like this can be helpful for customer support issues that have a lot of frustration, like rebooking cruises or any other occurrence that a customer may be irritated about. And it also can be used when general customer sentiment is overly positive and thankful. An AI tone analyzer can detect this tone and record customer verbatims to be used for marketing and feedback to internal employees to congratulate them on a job well done. I do think it's important to note that there may be some challenges with bias and ambiguity when using text-based analyzers like this. Human communication is ambiguous, like sarcasm, irony, understatement, and mixed emotions are all difficult for algorithms to parse accurately. For example, that's interesting, may be genuine in one context, but sarcastic in another. And also, tone varies significantly across cultures and languages. What sounds assertive in one culture might be considered aggressive in another. And so, firms operating globally will need to build systems that work consistently across different linguistic and cultural contexts to avoid bias like this. However, for the use case that I tested today, these AI tools seem to do a pretty good job at analyzing the tone and suggesting an appropriate response.